Hey everyone, Nick here. Today's episode deals with an article found on the BBC.com titled The 21st Century's 100 Greatest... Hey everyone, Nick here. Today's episode deals with an article found online at the BBC.com titled The 21st Century's 100 Greatest Films. You could do a Google search for it, or it could be found under the Culture section at bbc.com. You don't need to read the article before listening to our episode, but it might enhance it. So enjoy the article and enjoy our show. You're listening to the all-new CultureCast, Chicagoland's finest podcast.
Welcome to the newest edition of the all-new CultureCast. I am the Gorehound, and with me today are my two guests,
Nick.
And Jennifer.
I didn't realize I was a guest.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. They came out a little bit. You're not guests. We are compliments of each other. We are one third of this podcast.
Suddenly, Gorehound has, unbeknownst to me, booted me out of the show, and it's become the Gorehound show.
No, I
I
retract
would listen to
my
that.
statement.
I would. Yeah.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
Or am I?
So this week we are talking about the a list that was just released not too long ago called the 21st Century's 100 Greatest Films.
From the BBC.com.
You get a lot of these lists, but this one actually has quite a few reputable directors behind it. So I feel like it was something maybe worth looking into.
I've seen this list start to float around the internet the past week or so. I guess it was posted August 23rd, and we're recording this on the 28th. So I've been seeing it pop up in various places.
But yeah, before we get into that, let's get into a regular segment of what have you been watching. Nick, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I haven't been watching a whole lot. My wife and I have been watching on Netflix Parks and Rec, and it's a show that I caught every now and again when it was first on, but I never sat down and watched it very regularly. I think I watched maybe 5 episodes total, but it's one I always wanted to go and revisit, and my wife kind of wanted to watch it as well, so we've been going through that. We're about midway through the 3rd season right now, so we're doing pretty steady progress.
But you've seen it before, right?
No, I just random episodes. I haven't actually sat from beginning to end, so most of this is new to me, and it's completely new to her. So far, liking it. Thumbs up. Yeah. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, as soon as it came out, I thought it was just like a ripoff of The Office. But it really does.
The first season kind of was, though, to be fair.
Yeah, the first season was
it
not
improved
very
so
good.
Much.
Yeah,
so much.
Kind of it's related to The Office in that it's created by the same people,
mm-hmm.
at least of the American version. And I think in early production, it was meant to be a spin-off of The Office, but that had later, it became its own thing, and there was never any crossover as far as I'm aware between the two shows.
No.
Yeah.
But, no, it's enjoyable. I watched the first episode when it first aired, and I thought it was terrible. I thought the whole cast was trying to ape being a version of Michael Scott, and I'm like,
mm-hmm.
I had heard through the grapevine and the few episodes I watched later on, it really sort of evolved away and became its own thing, and it's I like it. It's funny.
Jenn, what have you been watching?
Well, so I went to the cheap theater in town the other day.
I love that one.
I know, and the movie I was going to see was sold out. So what we ended up seeing was the Tarzan movie that just came out. It's specifically called The Legend of Tarzan. Yeah. And guys, let me tell you something. I was not prepared for exactly how stupid it was going to be. It was one of those movies that was just the correct amount of insane. First of all, the guy in it is what is he? He's a Skarsgård. So he's very good looking, but the whole time I'm watching, I'm cannot figure out why I don't find him more attractive. And eventually I realized it's because he's got the acting ability of a banana wearing a wig. He was there, he was present. He took off his shirt when he was supposed to, but you didn't get a sense of Yeah, right. You didn't get a sense of like deep inner life of this guy, in a way that like I think his father, not that I want him to specifically be Tarzan, but I feel like his Tarzan, his father can act, and he, attended but it was like exactly as stupid as I wanted a Tarzan movie to be. So, and I will say the one really great thing about it is that it's not a origin story. Like you get hints of the origin story, but like I'm kind of over when we take, really classic stories. Like I don't really need the story of how Superman became Superman or, any of that, because like we get it. We, as a culture, we understand the story. We can just have a movie where, Tarzan is a person and we know what happened to Tarzan and that he grew up in the jungle, and it doesn't have to be the story of him growing up in the jungle,
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. I also appreciated the like super slow motion like fight he got in with like a super gorilla. They made clear in the movie that they weren't regular gorillas; they were like scary gorillas. So, and I, it's that kind of like appreciation of like the details that I think I really enjoyed. So definitely like not a movie anyone should see, but if you do, like you should definitely like drink apple cider while it's happening.
What have you been watching, Gorehound?
I have not been watching a whole lot. I've been working overtime the past like week and a half, so it's been like I really haven't had a whole lot of time. But with the time that I do have, I've been playing Fallout 4 quite a bit. It's an older game, but it's still like I just got it, so this is my first time trying it out, and it's very addicting. It's from the same producers of Skyrim, and Jenn, you wouldn't know, but I was playing like Skyrim. I was playing Skyrim for like a year after it came out, like straight up, like all night, just going crazy. So this is a comparable title.
You were like big into Skyrim.
Yeah, dude, I got a tattoo of it. So, but yeah, I don't enjoy this one as much as Skyrim, but it's the same engine as it. So I've been playing that in my free time, and not a whole lot else. We've been trying to watch Mr. Robot, the second season, but it's falling flat for us. Like 3.
Well, that's too bad. I feel like I heard such good things about that show.
The first season was just phenomenal. Like, we like binged it in like a week because it was just so gripping, and I wanted to watch the next one, and I just couldn't walk away. But yeah, we're in the third or fourth one right now, and it's really difficult to watch this because I watched 4 hours of the new season, and there's nothing that's drawing me in to it. It's a real shame. Segueing in to the man crush of the week. It's a repeat, but I feel like it's legit. Kevin Smith is releasing Yoga Hosers this week on Friday, and I am going to go see the early release party on Tuesday. And I'm like super excited for this. Kevin Smith was just on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and it was just so awesome. See him on live TV.
Is he gonna be there?
No, no. It's apparently it's an early release, and they're showing like outtakes or behind the scenes or something, an introduction or whatever beforehand. But I mean, I listen to so much Kevin Smith that I was just like, I have to do this, and I missed my opportunity to buy the tickets to the Andrew WK thing in Chicago, so I was like, gotta do something.
Last episode, you said you were going to go to that thing and get him to come on the show. Did you just lie to all of our listeners?
No, I said that I was going to go, and I went to go buy tickets, and they were sold out.
Tisk, tisk.
I was very disappointed.
I mean, you could have lined up the night before,
Yeah.
Clearly, you're not a true fan of his.
Because this happened before, where like I hesitated and I missed out. And so I just have to learn that when an opportunity comes along, you just have to grab it and run with it instead of, do I really think this is necessary?
All right. So, is your man crush of the week
Kevin Smith
because of Yoga Hosers?
Yes. Oh my God.
I look forward to your review. I do.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I assume we'll hear next week what happened.
Yeah.
And how much pleasure the movie gave you.
Or maybe if I can't hold it in, I will call together an emergency podcast meeting. Just like, all right, I've got.
It'll be like midnight on Tuesday.
All right. Moving on to the list.
Yes. So, so this list, it's I guess put together by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Channel. I believe that's what BBC stands for. I don't know. I live in America. Yeah.
Damn right.
But they put together a list, and I guess they kind of went through it. I guess they interviewed or polled a poll of critics to determine the 100 greatest films of the 21st century.
Yeah.
They surveyed by 62 film critics around the world.
117.
So they
critics, I believe.
They said, yeah, they surveyed 62, but they wound up getting responses from 117 from every continent except Antarctica.
177.
177. I can't read. I don't know numbers. And some of the newspaper or magazine reviewers, other write for websites, academics and cinema curators are well representatives as well. I'm curious to see. I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit later on about how many of these are official film critics and how many of these are just idiots who run podcasts like ours.
Were you guys asked to contribute?
No.
Which they totally missed us. I don't know.
Yeah.
This list is not legitimate. So.
Yeah.
But
I do like that they actually put out all the responses from all of the directors who contributed, and it is a huge list because each director gave out 10 of their votes. And,
you mean reviewer, right?
Yeah.
Directors are voting for which ones are the best. Mine.
Yeah.
So the reviewers.
Yeah, I wonder if they were able to do that. I think that all of these that I contributed to were the best ones.
Christopher Nolan's like The Dark Knight, Inception, whatever shitty movie I just made. But so they put together this list, and it's 100 movies, but it's really like 102 because there's like 3 movies at number 100. So I don't know what that's about.
No, I think it was solidly 100.
No, I'm looking at it right now. It's the list is 100, 100, 100, 99, 98, 97, 96.
Are the movies linked to each other? Is that it?
I don't
like a trilogy?
No, I don't think so. Because they're different directors, different years.
Oh, yeah, no.
And,
none of those are connected.
Yeah.
That is really funny. Maybe the British can't count.
Maybe the last 3 were tied or something. I don't know. I think, Gorehound, you wanted to start from we're not going to go through all 100 of these because that would take forever. Yeah. But you wanted to do...
At least for the first 10.
The first top 10, yes. So...
and just a few picks.
But
yeah, Mulholland...
Oh, do we want to do like countdown 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
I was thinking just starting at number 1 and working our way back.
All right, that works.
Yeah. Mulholland Drive was the number 1 film. Have you guys seen this one?
I have not.
Neither have I.
Good start.
I got nothing to say. I am aware of it, and I know David Lynch makes a lot of strange, weird movies. And
right, like
absolutely.
Eraserhead, which I don't think I've seen any David Lynch films that I can recall.
Oh, you would remember his movies.
Oh, Elephant Man, yeah.
They're very intense, and I feel like when 2001, I was 16, and I was not going to invest that kind of time in a movie that did not star, like, hot teenagers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was in college at the time. I was my freshman year in 2001. And I remember they weren't hipsters because I don't think that term existed at the time, but the precursor to hipsters were going on about this movie. Like, it's the greatest movie ever.
I've always really wanted to see it because so many people have talked about it. And
Now that
Yeah.
it
Do
is,
you guys think that you guys are going to see this one eventually?
I mean, I think that's interesting because it's like there's so many on here that I haven't seen. I was kind of surprised, and it's definitely something that I feel like if I had 6 weeks, if I like broke my leg, couldn't go to work for 6 weeks, I hope I'd get through. But I think sometimes when you look at something like this, it's very daunting. I think like, okay, well, that's a lot of movies. Like, I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm probably not going to watch it. I mean, if it's there and I got nothing else to do, sure, but I'm not going out of my way. I'm not the biggest fan of David Lynch's films just because, controversial statement, I think they're weird for the sake of being weird without actually coherence. And I think people kind of say, "Oh, it's so weird. That means it's automatically good," and I don't necessarily agree with that assessment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting because number 7 on the list, not to jump ahead, but Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life is very strange. I don't know if either of you guys have seen it.
I haven't seen it because it's one of those films I would actively avoid, but I'm fully aware of it.
Right. No, I went and saw it, and afterward, I went with a friend. It was for the Oscar death race. We saw it instead of watching the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
Because we're those people, and we afterwards we went and got burritos, and the people asked us what the score of the Super Bowl was, and we were like, "Sorry, no idea." But it is so strange, and that's another one where I'm like, sometimes you see these directors, and you think like, are they being strange for the sake of being strange, or is there some deeper meaning here that like I do not understand, like what dinosaurs have to do with Brad Pitt?
That's the one where it starts off. Or can you explain what that one was about briefly?
Okay. Let's say. Well, hold on. Let me just double check on this.
Doesn't Brad Pitt have like daddy issues or something, or is Brad Pitt the dad?
He's got like
I don't remember
kids. So okay, I'm pulling up the Wikipedia article because honestly, all I remember was like, for a while you'd watch Brad Pitt, and then there'd be like some dinosaurs. Okay, let's see what the plot is according to Wikipedia, which is, so there's a woman who discovers her son dies, and the family's thrown into turmoil, and then, one of the father, remembers scenes from his childhood. And so then the next paragraph starts, from the darkness, the universe is born. The Milky Way and then the solar system form, while voiceovers ask existential questions.
Okay,
so it's kind of that
movie,
where there's like some normal stuff and there's some plot, but then every so often they're just like, but also, isn't it crazy how there are stars and, who are we and where are we going? Right. And it was very strange. And we left and we said, okay, is this movie good? Are we stupid? We never came to a conclusion. We ate burritos and we're happy. But I will say it has not encouraged me to go see another movie from this guy.
Yeah.
He's very much, I'm noticing a lot of these movies on this list, especially the ones closer to one, are very art housey.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And those films don't speak to a general audience because when people go and see a movie, they want to be entertained. They want to, kind of forget their troubles for 2 hours or however, and enjoy a story. And while there's nothing against art housey sort of films, there's some I like. You go into it, and if it's not clear, people are going to be like, "This is dumb. What are they trying to do?" Like, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a valid way to tell a movie. It's more, like I said, more of a piece of art. It depends on if you feel film is more of a visual medium or more of a storytelling medium. And so there's your.
Well, that's true. Yeah, this was definitely something where it was more of a visual experience, I'd say, which isn't bad. But I mean, I've always been a fan of plot,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of film snobs out there who would like argue that, well, you just don't get it. You're and
entirely possible.
yeah, which is like, screw you if you're kind of like that, because let people enjoy a movie. It's very subjective. What's number 2 on this list?
Something that I bet that none of us have seen.
I'm thinking this is like an Asian film, especially given the name of the director, Wong Kar-wai.
Presumably.
In the Mood for Love.
Yeah.
No.
Jen, you haven't seen this, right?
No, the next one I've seen on the list is Boyhood.
Oh, you haven't seen There Will Be Blood?
I've been very busy, guys.
That is the first one on this list that I have seen.
Okay.
Yeah. That is... I saw this one and No Country for Old Men back to back. And No Country for Old Men did nothing for me, but I really enjoyed There Will Be Blood.
Do you feel it is as good as they are making it out to be on this list?
I think so. I saw it and it was very captivating. I was able to follow the story, and it was very intense, but not intense for the sake of being intense. Like, it was like really built up. The moments were, and it was just very. I'd read a few of the books of what this was. I didn't actually read, because this was based off of Oil, the book, and I didn't read that one, but I read a few of his other ones, Upton Sinclair. So I kind of knew what the subject matter was. And yeah, I think that's... I mean, I don't know if it's better than any of the other ones on the list, but I do feel like it's well deserved on the top 10 list.
So moving on, I guess Spirited Away, that's an anime if I'm not mistaken. I remember this movie came out. It was huge. It was.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, I don't like anime. I
believe it was animated, but not anime. But if you want more specifics on what the difference is, I do not have them.
Yeah, I don't care.
Fair enough.
Oh no, Wikipedia calls it an anime, so that's good enough for me.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I have an interest in this because I saw Death Note. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
Never heard of it.
It's just this random anime one that I watched, and it was so intriguing. It was a live action one, but it was based on an anime novel, and it was I just kind of watched it at random, and it was very good. And so I'm kind of expecting that same thing from here. And when I look at these screenshots, I actually realize I've seen quite a few of the icons from it. Mm-hmm. So I would watch this if I had an opportunity.
Number 5 on the list, Boyhood.
Yeah.
Now, Jen,
I heard a lot lot about this one coming out.
Now, Jen, you said you saw it.
Oh yeah,
Did you...
I definitely saw it. It won the Oscar in 2014.
Do you feel it merited the Oscar?
You know what? Here's the thing. I really enjoyed it. Now, there were some... so the whole premise behind Boyhood is that, every year they would film scenes with the same kids, the same family. And it's a really cool exercise. Now, there was some people who said, yes, it's cool you did that. No one asked you to do that. No one said you should make this movie. Yeah. Which, fair. I'm not going to argue with that. But I thought it was a really interesting take on childhood. And because, it follows him from about the age of, I think 10 to 18 or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. It's from when he's a kid to when he leaves for college. And I really liked that. I thought it was interesting to see a movie about childhood that doesn't focus on big events. As the movie goes, you see, the mom is married when the movie starts, and then they get divorced, and then she marries someone else, and then they get divorced. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe they were already divorced when the movie starts, but you see her kind of work through these things, but you're not seeing the big moments. You're seeing a lot of kind of in between things. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really interesting exercise in filmmaking, and I think it's a really effective kind of meditation on childhood. So yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I was pleased that it won. I'm trying to remember what it was going against that year.
2014.
But 2014. It was it was either going to be that or, let's see, what was it? But I was very pleased it won. Like I can come down on, Oscar winners and everything. But, yeah, I thought, oh no, wait, no, I lied. 12 Years a Slave won. It won some other stuff. That's fair.
Do you feel that it is the number 5 best film of the 21st century?
Well, honestly, I can't really think of anything else on this list that I would put higher personally. So yeah, I feel comfortable with it. I feel pleased that it is getting the attention it earned. Having said that, I have not seen all the movies, obviously.
I do think that it's interesting that they took this movie, how they filmed it. It's definitely an interesting exercise to see if they can do it. But and I haven't seen it, so I can't judge the merits of it on its own. But I do question if it is the novelty got it on its list versus the actual story and cinematography and everything that would make it a quote unquote excellent picture.
Yeah.
Right.
But
fair
again,
enough.
That's I put that out there not to criticize, just for a thinking exercise.
Of course.
But
well, and I mean, part of the problem with, the list is that it's all more recent movies, and I think, so that's an interesting snapshot of where we are in 2016. But it would be interesting to ask these same critics 30 years from now, whichever ones are still alive, I suppose, what they would have put from 2000 to 2016 and see if it was still at the top, or if, see what moved up or what moved down or what disappeared.
Yeah, definitely so.
Sure.
So the next movie on the list is the first one that I saw, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I remember liking this movie when it came out, and this movie is a little artsy, but not as big as maybe Tree of Life. But Jim Carrey, when he was kind of moving to trying to do more dramatic roles, I liked it. I wouldn't have considered it this high on a list like this, but
yeah, I
don't know.
I definitely watched it at some point, but also can tell you very little about it. I feel like I watched it, but it was one of those movies that got built up so much. People would talk about it a lot when it came out, and then it was one of those things, kind of diminished returns when I actually saw it. I was like, well, that was an interesting exercise, but or that was an interesting, premise, but I don't know that I felt like they kind of followed through in the way that I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah. I honestly don't recall much of it.
I really enjoyed it because I felt like it was very, very weird, but I understood why it was being weird at every step of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to really grasp. But I also watched this one and Donnie Darko on the same night. And I have to say that...
So every movie you've seen on the list, as far as I can tell, you saw as a double feature, yeah?
Apparently I watched a lot of double features.
Fair enough.
But I was just I watched this one and then I watched Donnie Darko and I was like, I believe that time travel is real.
Sure.
And that you can erase your memory. And I was just like...
Both of those things.
I believe both of these now. But yeah, I'm really surprised that it did get this high on the list for being a pretty odd movie. But, I mean, compared to the rest of them, it's not odd at all, compared to...
It's the most probably streamlined mainstream one they had on there.
So yeah, we talked a little bit about Tree of Life. How about this one, the Yee, a 1 and a 2?
I have never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds... Where do you think it's from? I think it's a foreign film.
It has to be.
Taiwanese and Japanese.
Oh, there you go.
And I can't imagine myself watching this.
Does it say what the premise of the movie is?
Follows the life of a family and something about video games and I don't know.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm going to put that on my Netflix queue now.
Mm-hmm.
The next one on there, A Separation. Have no idea what it's about. I'm guessing something.
Oh, I saw it. It's a foreign film.
Yeah?
I cannot remember what country. But they, yeah, that makes sense. I think it might have been Iran, and it's about this couple that's getting a divorce. It's tremendously depressing.
Well, sounds like date night fuel for me.
Oh yeah, you throw in some Alzheimer's and you are like going for a good night right there.
I mean, it got nominated for an Oscar. I enjoyed it, ? I saw it. It was good. It is not something I would pick up and rewatch because some things are just depressing and sad.
Topics include Alzheimer's, divorce, pregnancy and miscarriage, and physical abuse. Oh, and blood money too. It's like you are just hitting
blood
all
money.
of them.
Oh, I'm in. So okay.
Number 10 on the list is No Country for Old Men.
By Joel and
I've not
Ethan.
seen this one.
I haven't seen it either.
No. I know. Now, it was filmed in Chicago, correct?
I don't know about that.
I may also have made that up.
Yeah, it's more of it like a desert, west. I think Texas.
Which is like the Chicago of the South.
The Chicago of Mexico.
Yeah, the Chicago of Mexico. I haven't seen it either, but
and
I'm sorry.
it's just nothing really hit with me. I mean, I liked the antagonist,
Javier Bardem.
He was great, but nothing else. I really understood why it was happening. Things were just like, okay, maybe that's connected to this. No. So, and then I watched the other one, There Will Be Blood, and I was like, this is a good movie. But apparently I know nothing because they're not that far away from each other on the list.
But the blood one was better, so in some ways you were right on the money. So.
Now, does the fact that they are so close on the list and that you've seen both of them and really liked one and didn't really like the other one, does it make you want to go back and rewatch it and see if, give it another chance, see if it changes?
No, it just affirms that my opinion means nothing.
I'm glad that you're putting yourself down throughout all this. It's your opinion means a lot, Gorehound.
Oh, you're too sweet.
Because you can't account for personal taste, and
but most of the movies that I see are just like sci-fi movies or like horror movie. Not trilogies, but like Puppet Master Part 9. And
how come that's not on here? Was that made before 2000?
Yeah. Okay. That sums up the top 10. Are there any of the individual ones that you guys wanted to mention?
Some interesting things I noticed on there. They had Mad Max Fury Road, which is on
They did.
Which is on my DVR for me to watch. So I'm ready to do that.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
Uh-uh.
Oh, it's so intense.
That's what I hear. I'm looking forward to watching it. The Social Network, which I'm surprised didn't rank higher, because I remember that movie being buzzed about.
Oh, yeah. I liked that one a lot back in the day.
It's interesting that you had mentioned before that the movie Boyhood is on here. And Boyhood is on, what number is it? Number 5. And it was nominated but didn't win to 12 Years a Slave, which is also on here, but at number 44. So it kind of throws into question, which I know is, say what you will about the Oscars, that you would think since 12 Years won Best Picture that it would be on here higher over maybe some of its competitors.
Right. No, it's interesting to see kind of how this breaks down, since it's like, for instance, you've got things like Moulin Rouge on here, which I feel like...
Yeah, why is Moulin Rouge on here?
Oh my god.
To be fair, it's absolutely bananas, right?
Yeah,
but
it's entertaining, but I don't know, I wouldn't say it in the same breath as some of these others.
Right, it's two above the movie Ida, which I'm going to just assume you guys haven't seen it. It's a Polish black and white movie about a woman whose niece, I think she gets pregnant and then kills herself, something like that. Somebody definitely dies, and it's in black and white and in Polish. It was very beautiful. I would not watch those as like a double feature together, personally. But I will say I will rewatch Moulin Rouge, probably annually until I die. Mm-hmm. And I will probably not rewatch the depressing, suicide Polish movie anytime soon.
It's interesting to see on here that there are 100 movies, a little bit more, given the last couple of years, within the last 10 years, let's say, where the superhero genre has gotten super, super big, that only one superhero blockbuster film made this list.
Which one was that?
That being The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Oh.
And not that I'm arguing that something like The Avengers or Captain America or Iron Man or anything like that merited a position on here. I just found it interesting that none of those films, given how popular they are with audiences, didn't merit more of a position, whatever you want to call it, here on the list there.
So maybe it's like saying that maybe we should take a few cues from The Dark Knight that was like almost objectively an awesome movie and great in itself.
See, now here's the thing. Controversial statement. I don't necessarily think The Dark Knight should have been on a list like this.
Oh my! I think that it stands well in number 33 of the list. I thought it was, everything about it was awesome.
Well, here's my argument in that The Dark Knight is an entertaining movie. It's a very effective movie, but it's not a particularly good movie. I will give the film this, and maybe this is something that went into the voting. The Dark Knight as a film, it was a cultural touchstone that sort of changed the public perception of superhero films. Because right after The Dark Knight, the Marvel films took off, became huge. DC was trying to make films, more and more films of their own caliber. It just pushed that genre into a whole new direction, that it was a cultural defining film in that way. So maybe that has, looking at that context, maybe that's why the film, I could see why that would be the reason the film was added to it. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents on The Dark Knight.
Jen, are there any on this list that you want to mention?
All right, let's see. I would say, I think it's really interesting. We've got Dogville on there, which is Lars von Trier, 2003. Super, super weird. And definitely one of the ones that also got nominated for an Oscar. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And seeing it on this list, I still am not sure, I think it's really interesting to kind of see the stuff on here that, I either had no interest in, or that I just didn't think sounded very good to start with, So if I had to do a recommendation from here that I think everybody should see, I'd say number 73 is Before Sunset. So that's the whole Richard Linklater, before series. So there's Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, and Before Midnight.
Oh, is
And
that
I
the
think
one
those
where it's
are
like the same two characters, but they like it's like
right.
10 years apart or something?
Absolutely, yeah.
like
Every 9 years they've made a sequel following this couple. In the first movie, which is the one they have on the list, is like the two of them meeting as like as college students. On one of them's studying abroad, and they meet as college students, and they just spend all night walking and talking. And I think it's so great. I think it's so great, and definitely like a very effective series. And I feel like something that really makes you appreciate relationships, just kind of seeing how and watching them as a trilogy, really getting to see how their relationship shifts as they get older.
Oh, that's so cool. The premise of those two.
Oh, yeah. And the movies sound great to film too, because I guess they, every couple of years, every 8 years or so, they get together and they say, okay, should we make another one? And then the two leads and the director like sit down in a villa in some fancy country and, kind of write it together in a really collaborative way that I think is, you don't necessarily see very often. So
you'd call this like a straight up romance, right?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely about people who are in a romantic relationship. And so, especially the first one is the first time they meet, so I would definitely put that one as a romance. The next
I think that we should bring this up around Valentine's Day to.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to do these for Valentine's Day, I would be so into it.
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. Plus, I think it would be very romantic for your ladies.
Gotta try.
Gotta try something.
This is the same guy who Richard Linklater, right? That directed Boyhood,
yes.
Right? He has a thing.
Yeah.
He has a thing for long-term projects, doesn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't seem. I mean, he definitely does some other stuff. He's got like he has other things on his resume that are kind of one and done movies. But yeah, he definitely seems more interested in that kind of long-term changing it around. He's definitely. They had a list of. Facts about the list, which I thought was great. And one of them was, how many times each director pops up on there. And I think he pops up on there twice. So
it's interesting you bring that up because I was wanting to touch on that as well about reoccurring directors. Like I think Christopher Nolan was up there a couple times.
He was Inception and Dark Knight at least.
And Memento.
Memento. Paul Thomas Anderson was up there a couple of times. Interestingly enough, one of my Wes Anderson was also up there. Interesting enough, one of my favorite all-time directors, Steven Spielberg, only up there once.
Which one was he nominated for? Which one was he on there for?
He was up there for AI, which is not one I would have expected him because I remember that movie came out and a lot of people didn't like it. I remember it kind of got sort of so-so reviews. Considering that he has made within the last 15 years. Things like War Horse and Munich and
okay, I cannot let people think that War Horse is good. I can't do it. I can't mislead people like that.
I haven't seen it, but I'm just going on films that have gotten generally a positive response from audiences compared to AI.
No, audiences are dumb, but do not go see War Horse unless. Somebody maybe has like a gun to a member of your family, other than that, I would say avoid it.
If I have to go to, someone says, Nick, do you want to watch War Horse? I should go, nay.
Moving on from there. Jen, did you have any other individual comments?
No, I'd say that would be my big one is, everyone should see the Before movies.
There were 4 that I want to throw quick comments out. Number 6, I was very surprised. Number 26, I was very surprised that this one was on there. 25th Hour by Spike Lee. Have either of you seen this?
No, but I remember it with Ed Norton, right?
Oh my god, yeah. I'm surprised that it did this well on the list. I've never heard anybody else that has seen this, but I really enjoyed it. I don't think I've ever cried more in a movie than I did in this one. It was just like at the
Without
end.
spoilers, what is happening in this movie that makes it so sad?
Oh my gosh!
Isn't he like going to jail or something?
Yeah. It's the movie is 25 hours before he is sentenced or he is in jail. But I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think that you guys should see that.
Okay.
Okay. Number 30, Old Boy by Park Chan-wook. This is one of the best movies that I've seen. Have either of you seen it?
No, I've heard good things. This is the original, not the Spike Lee remake that no one liked.
Yeah. Park Chan-wook is notorious for revenge films or Korean revenge films, and he's one of my favorite directors. I love all of the movies that I see by him, and this is his best one. It's just the story is so long, but it wraps up so beautifully. And 59, History of Violence by David Cronenberg. This is also one of my favorite movies. I really think that it should have been higher up on the list because I think that it's better than a few of them that are underneath them.
Interesting, even though we were talking about superhero movies earlier, The History of Violence based very loosely on a graphic novel.
Oh, yeah? Maybe I will check that out. Which one is that? Do you know?
A History of Violence.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. I also thought that Eastern Promises, let me just make sure that... Yeah, I didn't see it on here. I feel like that's a better film than A History of Violence, and that should have been on here. But... And the last individual comment I had was on the Royal Tenenbaums. This is like one of my favorite movies that I could just watch all the time. And I was happy to see that a lot of other people think that it is that great to be included on the list.
See, now if I were going to go for a movie by him, I would go Wes Anderson. I'd go Moonrise Kingdom, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed that one. Now, to be fair, I also haven't rewatched the other one since it came out. So, but I really enjoyed Moonrise Kingdom. I think Wes Anderson movies are like you have to be in a very specific mood to watch them because they kind of exist in their own realism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I can watch like Wes Anderson movies any time of day. They're kind of just one that I could just zone out to and just really just.
Oh yeah, but do you feel like the people exist in a like? I mean, I like them. I'm definitely not saying I don't. I just don't necessarily feel like they're people I feel like I could meet on the street, or you know, they seem to kind of run by a very specific rhythm that is like unique to the director. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed them definitely.
Wes Anderson.
He's another one on here 3 times, I believe.
Wes Anderson's characters are very wacky. You will never meet people like that in real life. Very unrealistic, but that's where the comedy comes from. That said, not the biggest Wes Anderson fan. I acknowledge that he's a good director. His style is just not for me.
Can we talk about why Spring Breakers?
You know, you were reading my mind because I was just about to bring that up. I noticed that
very surprised
at number 74, Spring Breakers, starring Selena Gomez and what's his name? I can't think of.
They're saying, James Franco. They're saying that Wolf on the Wall Street, her featuring Joaquin Phoenix, in Moonrise Kingdom, are not as good as Spring Breakers. What the shit?
To be fair, I never saw Spring Breakers, but also to be fair, it looked very terrible.
Like, I'm going to go see it now just because it's apparently very good. But no, I mean, IMDb is saying that it's 5.3 out of 10 right now.
In fairness, you can't judge IMDb ratings because any idiot can get on there and judge it.
know.
If IMDb was true, then the
Rotten
Ghostbusters
Tomatoes is
reboot would have
66.
been the worst movie ever made. Rotten Tomatoes, you could probably take it a little bit more with some more authenticity, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go see it, but I don't know why I'm gonna go see it.
Because
you report back to us.
You go see that and Yoga Hosers and tell us which one's better.
Oh my god! Don't even. We're moving on.
How come the movie Rubber isn't on this list? The film that's about a tire that rolls around and kills people, causes them
that
to
nobody
explode.
can ever take seriously.
You know what film I'm talking about, don't you, Gorehound?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Nick, what else is on your mind about this list?
That's about it. The only thing I question is, and we talked a little bit about this at the beginning, is with this list, like, how legitimate actually is it? Do they make these? Because the internet is filled of lists, and what were the world is filled with film critics, some better than others. Who were the critics that they reviewed? Like, why were these selected? Why were these critics surveyed? How come that, like, some films are quote-unquote better than others, and the reasonings behind that? I think there's a lot of give and take with a list like this, and it's tough for me to look at and say, yes, this is definitive.
I would be really interested to learn, like the breakdown of the critics, like which ones are, employed by newspapers versus employed by websites versus, and also kind of the country breakdown of them.
And I'd like to take that one step further and break down by gender and race.
I should mention that they do have a lot of details on that. If you go to the very bottom of the page, they really go into, like, films by gender, top directors by country. By country, 35 films are from the U.S. The majority of these are from the U.S.
Right. Did they break down in terms of where the reviewers come from, though?
No. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, so they are transparent about a lot of this.
I'm not saying they meant that they're hiding anything, but I'm just curious to see, like, let's say, hypothetically, because I don't know, I'm not going to look it up right now, but say, like, the majority of the reviewers happen to be men. Okay.
They definitely are.
And say they're white men, would that skew viewing? Like, say, for example, if the majority of reviewers were African American, would, say, for example, 12 Years a Slave on that rank higher? Just to use a random example there. Or actually not random, a pointed example. Would that have skewed the results? I wonder if it would. Or if the majority of them were women. Would that have skewed results as well? So, I mean,
absolutely. I'd say of the list, it would be, I've not, sat down and figured it out, but of the list, they're definitely scaled. There are more movies starring men than women, just of course. And, it would be interesting if you broke it down to what percentage of those star women have, or, have a woman as the protagonist. Mm-hmm. It's not very many of them. Like, Brooklyn is on there.
Right.
But not too many more than that.
You could argue Spring Breakers. So there you go.
To be fair, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's you raise a good point. I'm looking at them here, and Zero Dark 30, I think, had a female lead.
Sure, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. The majority of them happen to be maybe male-led, or at very least, some of them probably had equal, like if it's a romance film, probably you'd say the two leads there. But you're absolutely right. That does, like, throw things.
Right, and that's why I also wonder about, given that there are so many American films, I mean, to be fair, we also export our culture in a way that, most other countries don't get the chance to, but, it would be interesting to know, based on the with the reviewers, how many of them come from other countries or exposed mostly to foreign films, compared to local critics who might be more exposed to Hollywood films. Sure.
So, I'm getting kind of tired here, so if you don't mind, if we could wrap some things up here.
Let's bring this to a close.
Yeah.
I really like the list just because they actually put like a lot of reputable people behind it. It's not just like a BuzzFeed list.
That's true.
Right. It's not according to IMDb.
Right. So they have a lot of reputable people on this, and they show like the breakdown. And so now that I think that Wes Anderson film that I mentioned, I like it, and a lot of other people that like it, I'm like, okay, I might actually have okay taste because I concur with this.
Yeah, I think anytime you have one of these lists, it can get some interesting conversations going. Definitely.
As we
there's so many movies on there I haven't seen. I'd love to know. I'd love to. I'm definitely not going to sit down and watch everything on that list, but hopefully I'll pick up at least one or two more movies to my repertoire.
I'm just going to rewatch Too Fast, Too Furious again and again, and maybe if I keep watching it, it'll make this list.
Yeah, and just consider it the best movie of the 21st century thus far.
Obviously, I have yet to see anything that would top it.
Go ahead.
I don't have any trivia tonight. I didn't know what to do for a trivia thing, considering this topic here, but I do have some exciting news. Gorehound, you're going to be excited. We got our very first email.
No, we did. Oh my gosh. Let's hear it.
It was Thor from Thor's Hour of Thunder. So here's what his email said. I met Zach when we both guests at wedding recently and just had a listen to your podcast for the first time. I'm assuming he met you, Gorehound.
Did he say Zach?
Yes. Well, I used to do a podcast on our website with my buddy Zach. Unfortunately, he decided that he was done with podcasting. He didn't want to do it anymore. He was burnt out after years of doing it. So Gorehound and I started up the all-new Culture Cast. But our blog, it still says the Culture Cast with Zach and Nick, which I need to update, but it's been it is what it is. But anyway, Thor goes on to say, I really dug it, but I was trying to find a way to subscribe to it using your podcasting app I most enjoy using, Podcast Addict. Do you or Libsyn have an RSS feed address for podcast, as that would be the easiest way for me to subscribe? No worries if you do not. I enjoy listening to you guys take on Independence Day. It definitely made me to rewatch the film. Cheers. So,
first email, yes.
To answer your question, Thor, if you are listening, we actually, despite the fact that we've talked in person since you sent us this email, and I told you at the time, I don't think we have one. Turns out we do have one. We actually have two. Our RRS feed for our Libsyn site is allnewculturecast.libsyn.com/RSS. Alternatively, our WordPress blog has an RRS feed as well, which is znculturecast.wordpress.com/feed. So I assume if you are familiar with how RSS feeds work, you'll be able to, I'm saying this as a general, you'll be able to utilize to get that on your app, for you guys could be checking us out daily.
So let's bring this to a close.
Perfect.
This was an awesome podcast. This list was awesome. And we are the All New Culture Cast.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the All New Culture Cast, where every episode is all new. Check out our blog, Zach and Nick's Culture Cast, at znculturecast.wordpress.com, and find us on social media. Send us an email at nick.culturecast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback, comments, and requests. Theme music by bensound.com. The All New Culture Cast, a Saltwater production, copyright 2016. I always confuse Paul Thomas Anderson with Paul W.S. Anderson, who directed Alien vs. Predator. I shouldn't.
Is that on the list? That's more like in the 80s, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it's further down on the 80s there.